Welcome to Collaborate, the podcast that's reshaping real estate success. Whether you're a new agent striving for your first big win or a seasoned producer ready to break into the top 1%, Collaborate is your gateway to elite strategies, global networks, and industry-changing insights. Each episode delivers actionable advice straight from the top 1% of real estate professionals worldwide. This is where you learn the tools, tactics, and high-level techniques you need to scale your business and unlock financial freedom. Don't just survive, thrive. I'm your host, Trevor Bigg, three-time Icon Award winner with over $100 million in sales volume as a solo agent. And if you haven't been invited to the show yet, get your numbers up because this is a space reserved for the elite. Welcome back to another impactful episode of Collaborate. This is the premier podcast for ambitious agents focused on scaling their business. Today's discussion will explore how the social media queen of real estate earned that title, built her brand, and currently empowers agents globally. Now, this woman's story isn't just about selling houses. It's about building a life of opportunity from scratch, becoming a powerhouse influencer, and helping others achieve their dreams. The powerhouse I'm referring to is none other than Gogo Bethke. Gogo, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, one of the reasons I find your business so intriguing is because you didn't get into real estate the conventional way. Statistically, most agents had a parent in the family, or a parent or a family member or a friend in the business that got them started. They had a little bit of sales experience from a previous job and they got their business off the ground in their hometown, selling to all their friends and family. Now, your journey is a little bit different. Your journey from Romania to becoming one of the top real estate influencers in the United States is incredible. What inspired you to get into real estate and how did you start your career?
Well, it wasn't my idea. It was my neighbor's idea.
Okay, elaborate on that.
Mom at the time, so the boys were 4 and 2, and I was on the driveway watching them playing bikes and cars and whatnot, trucks. And a neighbor stopped by. She was the director of, or she still is a director of a local title company, marketing director for a local title company. And she was like, "Oh, well, you're so good on Facebook. You're always on there." Well, I had to be on there because that was my only way of communicating with I left the whole life behind. I was 21 when I came to the US. So I left my cousins, my childhood friends, my college friends, my best friends, my everybody, my family, my mom and dad, my sister, everybody, grandparents, everybody I left behind to go to another country.
What inspired that move?
I was not meant to live in a communist country, even though Romania is not a communist country anymore.
Okay.
You kind of can't take communism out of the people.
Okay.
If my parents lived in communism for so long that is just like it's in their being.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's in the country. It's just like I was created for freedom. I have a big mouth. I say whatever I think. I would probably be in jail by now. Like God knows, I'd probably be dead if I was there. I have no idea. Yeah. But I just knew that I always felt like I don't belong there. I always had these like big dreams and like these big obnoxious ideas and the women's places in the kitchen in Romania. And I'm like, yep, so I can go get the knife. That is not like, I am so not designed to someone rule over me. Like I can't. I don't work for the greater good. I don't pull my weight in average way, so I want to get paid for the way I pull my weight, and everybody gets paid the way they pull their weight, right? In communism, it doesn't work like that. Everybody works for the greater good of the country. So it's just, I'm created very entrepreneurial, right? Like, just like you said, you get energized about things like, I'm a doer, I'm a goer. I can't sit still. Yeah, like I have a million ideas and I'm going to go build them all, and some's going to work out and some's not going to work out. And then I'll look back and be like, well, that was stupid. And I'm going to look back and be like, well, that was super smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
right?
So your neighbor tells you that you're awesome at Facebook, and that's no walls.
She said you would make a great realtor, and I was like, what a great idea. What a great idea. What does it take? So she goes, I already talked to Real Estate One, to the broker. She goes, you can just go in, and told them I sent you. So I go in there and they said, well, if you pass your licensing, we pay for it. So I was like, okay, where do I go? So they sent me for licensing and I passed right away. And by the way, it's not like in Canada. We don't have to have an associate degree to sell a house. It's literally 40 hours of training. 40 hours.
Oh, wow.
1 week. And you're a realtor. So plus I barely spoke English. I have no college education. My accent was so strong. And I somehow passed in the first try. When I went to take the test, there was a bunch of people in the room and there's like, oh, it's my 7th time. It's my 5th time. I was like, whoa. So I was like, give me math, because math, I don't have to translate. Numbers look the same in Hungarian as they look in English, right? Yep. So I passed right away. I got my license. Real estate won't even paid for that. So I have zero cost of becoming a realtor. And then And I made $16,000 in my first year. It wasn't as much of a big success as you were. For years, I didn't sell. What did you say? You sold 20 some homes in your first year?
27, yeah.
It probably took me the fourth year or third year in real estate to sell that many homes. So I'm a much slower learner, clearly, than you are.
Yeah. Well, which is funny though, because I mean, anybody from the outside looking in would think that you got in and you just figured it out right from day one, you know?
Oh gosh, no. Oh my gosh, no.
So how did your background as an immigrant shape your approach to business and entrepreneurship?
Oh, I always say that being born into communism and seeing how bad we can have it, it's a privilege because I have what to compare it to. I would never wish it on my children or my worst enemy, right? So I will work so hard to make sure my kids will never see a day like that. And I will also work so hard because now I'm in a free country. Like I actually get to build whatever I can imagine for myself. So I did come for the American dream, and I think I just work harder and more. I do circles around most people, I would say.
Yeah. And
hard work, though. That's all we learn over there. Is hard work equals money.
Yeah. Yeah. But so many people are afraid to do the hard work, and not necessarily maybe afraid to do the hard work, but do the hard work and don't get immediate satisfaction or immediate reward and quit. And I think that's the big difference is.
Yeah, but hard work doesn't equal average. Doesn't equal like I did what everybody else did. No, that's not hard work. If you do what everybody else does, then you're going to have what everybody else have. You're going to be average, right? Like hard work means that if you want what the top 1% has, you have to do what 99% is not willing. That's what hard work is. Doing circles around anybody else.
So you began in 2011, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So starting your career in 2011, no sphere, you have no real budget. What are some of the key decisions or strategies that helped you break through the early challenges?
Well, I'm an interviewer. Like I like to study people.
Okay.
So I went into the office and I thought, I'm like, how hard can it be to sell a house? It can't be that hard. I watch HGTV, right? Like I'm going to show houses and they're going to buy it and I make a commission. My job is done. Come to find out, who are the people that are going to buy the houses from me? I don't know anybody. Yep. So I went into the top producers' offices to see how they lead generate. Where do they get their leads from? And I interviewed all of them, and some of them were farming an area with postcards for years, like 8 years they've been farming this specific neighborhood. I remember at the time it was costing $400 for this specific agent to farm a neighborhood. And I was like, I don't have $400 to spend on that. Yeah. Plus every time I get a postcard, it goes straight in the trash. So I was like, that doesn't sound good. I don't think I want to do that. And then I went to the other top producer's office and she was buying Zillow leads. And she was paying about $4,500 a month for Zillow to get these leads. And I'm thinking, I just want to make $4,500. I don't have $4,500 to spend. Sure. Right. And then I went to the other one and he was a door knocker. And I went to the other one and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do any. One was a cold caller. And I was like, oh no. Yeah. Like my name is Gogo and I have an accent. That is the wrong 1-800 number. Yeah. I'm not doing that. Right. So by doing the research, I realized everything that I wasn't willing to do. I saw everything that works because they were all top producers. They've done it a different way. But I wasn't willing to do that, or I couldn't afford to do that.
Okay.
So then I was like, okay, then what else is left? Like someone needs to buy a house from me. Like who's going to buy a house from me? Yeah. At that time, I couldn't even think of being the listing agent. So at first I was just thinking buyer's agent, like just someone, let me have someone buy a house. And I was like, okay, so who buys houses? People. I don't know anyone. Where are the people I don't know? On Facebook. So I was like, oh, I started a Facebook account. So I started Gogo's Real Estate. I don't want to say, I guarantee I was the first business Facebook account in my neck of the woods. I would take a bet on that. Yep, I would put a bet on that. And so I started Gogo's Real Estate, and then I had no business really, right? Yeah. What am I going to post about?
What are you advertising? Yeah.
And then I started interviewing the local rock stars. So I would go to lunch with them or coffee, originally coffee because I couldn't afford lunch. So I invited the top broker, the top lenders, the top appraisers, the top inspectors, the top anybody that was tied to a real estate company. I invited them because I wanted to understand the business from their perspective. Like I was studying, I'm going to be really good. Whatever I'm doing, I'm going to be really good at it. And so I would interview these top brokers, lenders, all of them. And then I was like, after the coffee meeting, well, at every coffee meeting, of course, I would take a photo with them and I would tag them and I would tag the coffee shop. And then I would be like, guess what I learned? And then I would audio a video or a description. And then over time, as I was learning these lessons, well, since these lessons were coming out of my mouth, it made me the expert. Yeah. And then I would go tour properties, fake it till you make it. I would go tour properties, like, hey, I'm touring this property for my client. Of course I wasn't, because if I had my client, it would have been with me. But hey, that's a whole other story. But I was like, hey, I'm touring this property for this client. You guys want to see it? It's a beautiful lakefront, or it's a brand new construction, or whatever it was. And that's it. I started turning those into videos. And then people were like, oh, I love that kitchen. Where's that house? And then I would tell them the address. I would meet them. It just kind of snowballed from there. So my avenue ended up being social media, because I couldn't afford, or I wasn't willing to do the other things.
Well, I think that's incredible. I think so many people are too afraid to jump into things because they don't have the network, or they don't have the Maserati, or they don't have the resources they need to start a career. So they think anyways, but you literally had no listings. You had nothing to post about. You started a Facebook account and just started talking to people.
Who did you talk to?
Yeah.
I was talking to the strangers out there in the world. I mean, think about it. Still to this day, I don't have anyone related to me by blood on this whole continent besides my own two children. This whole continent. I didn't know anyone in North America.
What advice would you give?
Canada.
What advice would you give to someone starting with limited resources?
It's not the lack of resources, it's the lack of resourcefulness.
Hey, I like that. Very
Everyone
well
has
said.
the same amount of resources on this earth. Just the question is, are you willing to pick up the phone? Are you willing to put yourself out there?
Oh, I totally agree. My career started the similar way. I don't have any parents in real estate. We grew up financially less fortunate, let's say. I didn't have any friends in real estate. I'm still the only EXP agent in my entire vicinity here. But I just got out and just started doing things, doing everything that I could. Same deal. I seen what other agents were doing. So I went and I door knocked as many doors as my shoes could handle. I went and I handed out all the postcards, which you're exactly right. Many of the postcards just ended up in the garbage, and I found that to be not the most effective use of my time and money. But I just
tried it.
But I tried. Well, I tried almost everything. But then I found out.
No, I'm like, where you are right now, that is the exact situation if someone says no.
Yep.
You're already there. So it can only get better.
Well, that's just it. I mean, starting with nothing is you have nothing to lose. You've already got no database, so it can get worse than that. You know what I mean? You're not going to get less notice. Yeah, you're not going to get less notice. You're not going to start losing friends by going out and doing these things, right? So it's just get started.
I love it. Exactly. Do it your way. Who cares? I mean, if I had $1 every time people laughed at me for taking a selfie, or people making fun of me or talking behind my back, like, oh, there's Gogo again taking another selfie. Like, I just knew that pictures is what's going to pay the bills. So whatever that gut feeling is that you have, go do it.
You're known as the social media queen of real estate. How did you first realize the potential of social media for growing your business?
I want to sound very sophisticated and very smart and make you think like I knew what the heck I was doing. But no, I didn't. I took a chance on something that I could afford and I knew how to do.
Yeah.
Like, really what it came down to for me is that I didn't have another avenue. Yep. Everything else was paid, or I would have to go door knock on someone. I'm 5'2" little blondie, barely speak English. Like, I'm not going to show up on some hairy chested 300-pounders driveway. That's not going to end well. I was going to lose, right? Yep. So I just wasn't willing to put myself into physically dangerous situations. But I'm also the sorest loser that you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
So I'm not, if I'm going to do something, you can bet your tush on it, then I'm going to be on top of that list.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it. There's only two options. There's winning or winning. If I'm doing it, there's winning. If I'm not doing it, then I don't care. No plan B. There's no plan B. That's where people that don't succeed is because they have a plan B. Because they confuse their internal GPS. If you give your GPS two locations, it cannot possibly take you there. Because you can't go to two places at the same time.
Yeah.
You can only go to this place. So this is where you're at. This is where I'm going. It's like telling the GPS, hey, I want to make $1 million this year, but if I make 500, I'll be fine. So then GPS says, so do you want to make 500 or do you want to take $1 million? It's like telling GPS, hey, I want to go to Vancouver, but if you take me to Atlanta, I guess that'll be fine.
I guess we'll just stop there. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that will cut it. No, it won't, right? Like, you have to know what your destination is. So to answer your question, I did not know that social media is going to feed all of my businesses and really that I'm going to make it into this level of life. But what I did know that's the avenue I'm supposed to take. If I was just certain in that. Like, I don't know how to tell you. That gut feeling, that sixth sense, that thought, that idea, that nudging feeling that is keep eating away at your soul.
Yeah.
That's there for a reason. That is God's way of telling you that's what you're supposed to be doing. The question is, God also gives you a choice. Do you have balls to take action?
Yep. Yeah, no, and that's just it. And it's that choice, because obviously the choice of inaction is usually the easier choice. The action choice is when you have to push yourself out of the comfort zone. You got to do things you don't want to do, and you got to put yourself in scenarios that make you feel extremely uncomfortable. But I mean, that's growth.
If you do what's easy today, life is going to be hard tomorrow. If you do what's hard today, life is going to be easy tomorrow.
Wow, said by Gogo herself. Was there a specific post or campaign that brought a major breakthrough? Or was it just consistently compounding?
Just consistent.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, are there some posts of mine that go viral? Yes. Did they actually bring me business? Probably not. Sometimes the weirdest posts go viral.
Yep.
Right. And then I'll make a post where, like my circle, right, where I started my coaching program, I pretty much sold. I mean, I have 2 seats, but one is already taken today left. So I have 1 coaching client seat left, but that's literally a post that I made. People applied. I did the clarity calls with them, and that's it. They pretty much all signed up. Right. So, and so I might have had like 40 likes on it, but 20 of them signed up. That's literally going to make me another $1 million next year. So does it really matter? No, it doesn't matter, in my opinion, what goes viral and what doesn't, what brings you the most eyeballs. Consistency is what's going to bring you the most eyeballs, right? It's doing the same boring thing over and over again to have the same boring results over and over again. And yes, in between, some of the things going to go viral. Some of the things people are going to remember more than the other stuff in between. But if you don't have the other stuff in between to entertain them, then they're going to forget about you altogether.
Yeah, it's funny. I've talked to so many agents, and so many of them have that exact same theme where it's not about the fancy stuff. It's about consistently nailing the basics at scale. Your platforms generate over 1 million impressions a month. What is the strategy for consistently creating engaging content? Because I think that's you see so many people that set up schedules where they're posting 3 or 4 or 5 times a day, but they're nothing posts. You know what I mean? Just sold, just listed, new listing. They're a bunch of nothing posts. And yeah, sure, they're posting consistently 4 or 5 times a day, let's say, but these posts are getting 1 or 2 likes, they're getting no impressions, and it's just a static photo. What is your strategy on consistently creating engaging content?
Let me ask you this. And I'm not asking you, I'm asking the listener.
Yes.
If you were on the receiving end of your social media profile, would you follow you?
That's a good question.
If the answer is no, sorry, you suck. Okay? Do better.
Yep.
So think of it this way. What do you really enjoy watching about people that you follow? Do you watch enjoying their day-to-day, their task, and this is what, this is my list, this is just so, this is the market report? No, none of us does. Nobody cares about that. I want to see that what you do, you actually love, and you get results. And you actually have the lifestyle that goes along with that hard work. Because if you're working this hard, and I'm watching you working this hard, but then I see you never going on a vacation or not having time with your children or not actually living in a most beautiful home, which I actually, lately, I've been watching these mini homes. I want to sell everything and move into a tiny home.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm like, if you have to show the lifestyle, you have to show your personality, you have to show who you are. People work with people. People don't care that you just sold Jessica another house and it was $430 per square feet. Nobody cares.
Yeah, no, and that's huge. I like that you said that. People buy into people, and it's so true. I mean, you posted just sold or just listed. There's a million other realtors out there. People want to buy into why you're the realtor for them. What person are you?
Experience fun. I'm friends with my clients.
Yeah.
Right? They're all following me on my personal Facebook page too, not just my business, right? They wish me happy birthday. I wish them happy birthday. I look at the people, and when you do attraction, so this is the other thing. I don't do recruiting, which is on the agent attraction side of things. I do attraction, meaning that's same with my clients. I don't run ads. I do everything organically. So write this down. I'm looking for the people who are looking for me. When you allow people to get to know you through showing yourself to the world of who you truly are, how you live, how you think, what are your ethics, what are your work ethics, all of those things, right? You show them who you are. When they find something in common with you. So let the world know that you're an immigrant, or you're Hungarian, or that you have a diabetic son, or that you speak 3 languages, or you have no college education, or that you're now an investor, or that you started a podcast, or whatever those things are. And when you allow people to get to see you, get to know you, of who you truly are, that's when they trust you. When they trust you, they will buy whatever you're selling. I seriously have clients who have been my real estate clients who got a real estate license. Now they're partners with me in the Team Gogo organization at EXP. And then on top of it, now they're investors with me, or they become also my coaching clients who are also in the Gogo community, who also listen to my Gogopreneur podcast. You can take people on a journey with you. When you find your people, they will never leave you because you're exactly alike. So as you're growing, they're growing with you. So when you do that, when you're doing it through attraction, by finding your people, right? You don't have to spend dollars on it. When you spend dollars, the reason why you have to keep buying leads is because you didn't actually form a relationship. These are strangers. You sold them a house and you never talked to them again, which means you're back to ground zero. You're going to have to now go buy another lead from another third party source because you don't actually build a community. When you build a community with like-minded people, you will always have your own pond to fish in. They will raise their hand. They will buy what is it called when you go fishing? A lure. They will buy your lure before you even throw it into the lake.
Yeah.
Like they're going to raise their hand and be like, oh, we have a baby. We need an extra room.
Yeah, well, and you said it perfectly. If you're going to use social media as a gateway, or you're going to use social media as a tool, be authentic, because authenticity builds trust, trust builds relationships, and people who have trust build relationships, buy houses, and they turn into clients, and that's just how the trickle effect works.
The real you. Guys, this one is an implant, this tooth. This is a $14,000 tooth, right? I lost my tooth for 8 months. I didn't have a front tooth forever. I would like pop my tooth out. It's like, guys, I'm not going to have a tooth for 8 months. I'm not going to hide it. It is what it is. You know how many followers I got just from those toothless videos? And I was supposedly the social media queen of real estate, and I don't have a freaking front tooth, and I couldn't. Yeah. I had an infection in the bone. I had to have mouth surgery, all that stuff. So it took 8 months to heal. So I couldn't have a front tooth if I tried. And those are the situation where people are like, oh my gosh, you're so real. So the more real you can be, the more you can show who you truly are and how you're living your life and what you're working for, the more people want to support you and want to be a part of it.
That's an important highlight, because I think that's a big one. So many people are too afraid to get in front of camera or get on front of social media because they don't feel like they're looking great that day, or they haven't done their hair, or their makeup's not quite put together. You're missing a tooth and you're on there gaining followers.
Yeah. So if you follow me, you can follow me on Gogo's Real Estate. If you follow me, you see me, I like to say I can go from hit to hot in like 10 minutes, right? Yeah. There are days and I'm like, I look hideous. Like I don't have makeup on. I just, woke up with my hair. I go to bed with wet hair all the time. Then I wake up and I look like lightning hit me overnight. And then I kind of just rock it for a day. Like Mondays are my meeting days. I usually don't have makeup on. I usually just like, hey, I'll just sit in front of a Zoom call and let's just get shit done, if I may say that. So I'm real. I show the good, bad, and the ugly the way it is. Not every day is sunny and 75. There are some shitty days in entrepreneurship, right? And I just let everybody know the truth.
What's a common mistake you see agents make in their social media strategies?
Oh gosh, posting flyers.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Open house flyers, just listed flyers. Anything that has letters on it, it's never going to work.
It's the same as the postcard scenario. Yeah. It's all of our mailboxes are at the end of the street now. There doesn't go door to door. You get one kind of community mailbox at the end of the street, and there's a recycling bin beside that mailbox. And every single time when one of the local realtors sent out a postcard, because the whole recycling bin, the whole top shelf is just nothing but that postcard. Because as soon as they grab their mail, it's the first thing that goes in the recycling bin. It doesn't even make it home.
Yeah, that's sad.
Well, it is, but I mean, change the strategy. If you want to pick up your mail, you're seeing everybody else's postcards, so you know that you're one of those. Like, figure it out.
And just question it. Like think of it this way: we are in sales, right? So is this postcard salesman, right? Like whoever sold you that idea, you should probably question it. What do I do with the postcards when I get them? Is that something I actually look at? Have I actually called the business off of a postcard? Do I even pay attention what's on the postcard? What was the last postcard I got? If you can't answer them, probably don't do it.
Yeah, so same strategy.
Everybody else does the same thing. Like that.
I like the strategy that you use, is putting yourself in the other person's shoes. So many people don't do that. Same with social media. If you were following you, would you actually want to follow you on social media? If you were getting a postcard, would you actually take that postcard home? Very good questions, because 9 times out of 10, if you flip the script, wow, you're right. I guess I wouldn't like that picture.
Why would you do it, right? Like, then why would you invest into something that you don't do yourself?
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, what kind of stocks do you invest in? I'm like, the kind of stocks that I actually use their services. So I invest into stocks. I mean, into Delta. I fly Delta. I invest into Verizon. I use Verizon. I invest into Visa. I use Visa. I invest into Tesla. I did not get my Tesla. I was for one. I didn't get it, but I still invested into Tesla. So I invest into things that I actually use. I use things in my business that I actually am the receiving end and the other end, right, of that service. So it's super simple, guys. Just do it. Do you, boo?
Yeah. People invest in value. Okay, you've successfully trained thousands of agents through Gogo's Bootcamp. What's the most important lesson you teach agents about growing their business? Or one of the most important? I don't want to stress you out and just nail it down to one.
The first thing that popped in my mind is hourly rate.
Okay, elaborate on that.
I want to say tracking is super important. Most agents have no clue when I talk to them. What's your average price? How many transactions did you do on the buy side versus listing side? Where are your leads come from? If you don't track it, you don't know how to massage your business. You don't know how to adjust when you don't know what it is.
Well, that's so well said.
Yeah, but with that being said, my biggest thing is probably the hourly rate. I started making
elaborate on that.
After I realized what my hourly rate is. And the way to calculate that is if you consider yourself that you work full-time, 40 hours, that means you're working 2,080 hours in a year. Take all of the money that you made last year, not after expenses. I don't care how much you paid for marketing or whatever, how much money came into your bank account, because that's the amount of money you made, okay? Not what it cost you to make it. How much did you make is the question. Let's say that's $250,000, whatever that is. Okay. Divided by 2,080. And that is your hourly rate. That number that's staring you right now, that is your hourly rate. From this moment on, you're gonna write it down in some stickies and you're gonna stick it everywhere in your house. You're gonna stick it to the vacuum. You're gonna stick it to the dishwasher. You're gonna stick it to your dog. You're gonna stick it to anything that takes time. I don't vacuum. I haven't grocery shopped in 6 years. I don't do laundry. I don't do anything that doesn't make money. I stay in my lane. I do the money making activities. And then when I walk out of I have 14 assistants. And when I walk out of this door, my house is clean. My bills are in order. My business is in order. Everything is running perfectly, running with me or without me. Yeah. But everything is done. So if you continue doing those things, are like, well, I can listen to a podcast and, do a load of laundry. Are you really listening and taking notes and building it into your business, or are you just kind of listening? Because then might as well just don't do it. Not only that, but you're not making the money. So if it takes you 3 hours to do the laundry, by the time you go collect it from everyone's rooms and then separate it by color and then put it into the washer, and then you have to wait for the washer to run the load, and then you're going to put it over in the dryer and then wait for the dryer to run the load, and then you're going to take it out and you're going to fold it and you're going to deliver it and distribute it back into everyone's room, guarantee is at least 3 hours. Oh, yeah. How do you think it would cost you to hire someone to do a load of laundry for you? Probably 20, 25 bucks an hour, right? Fair. How much are you making? So today make 2,400 bucks an hour, okay? So do I qualify to do a laundry? Yes, it's like riding a bike. I know exactly how to do laundry. Could I do it? Absolutely. I could run up the road right now, right? Should I do it? No. Because if I stay here in front of my computer, in average, I'm going to make 2,400 bucks an hour. If I go there, most people look at it, but I saved $25 because I can do the laundry myself. Yeah, you save 25 while I make 2,400. An hour, and that's just it. So if you spend 3 hours doing laundry, that load of laundry just cost you $7,000. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, no, and that's well said. And okay, so let's talk about... It's a very expensive load of laundry. That's literally how my coach taught it to me. She goes, go put it in the washer. Yeah. Very expensive load of laundry. So every time I have old-fashioned washers because I like real water to wash laundry with. So I stuck it to the top. So it said it's a very expensive load of laundry. So every time I would just even go to touch it, I'm like, I can't. I have to go make money. So I would sit down and make money, and I would hire someone to do those things for me, because if you want to make more money, if you don't want to make more money, then continue doing your own laundry. And I think that's a big one. And lots of people are afraid of hiring because they fear the cost, right? And it's an additional responsibility where if you're not... It's not a cost. It's a loss. Thank you. Yeah. It's a loss. It's not a cost of doing business, because you're looking at what you would cost you, but you're not looking what would you gain in that same hour. Yeah. If you stayed in your lane, if you look at whatever you're really good at, if it's cold calling, if it's door knocking, if it's running Facebook ads, if it's Zillow leads, whatever that thing is that makes you the most amount of return on your money, like you can print money with that. Yeah. If you were to do that for those 3 hours of the laundry, I guarantee you would get at least a deal or 2 or 3 in the pipeline. Oh, instead, exactly that. You wasted 3 hours on laundry that you will never get back and will never send your kids to college. Yeah. You can never buy investment property on it. And you did not get smarter. So my GCI increases. I've hired 3 assistants now, 2 full-time, 3 working on getting her full-time. But I can track every time that my business took a dramatic jump. And it was every time I hired somebody on. Anytime I took that leap and brought somebody on, that is when things really hit the wall, because now all of a sudden I've freed up. And the whole idea behind being a successful real estate agent is basically becoming a time ninja. Is how can you squeeze the most amount of every single day, every single hour you have? How can you squeeze the most out of it? And the only way to squeeze more out of your day is to add more people into the mix, is to free up your own time, is to basically buy your time back, right? So look at this. I just did the math while you were talking. I have 14 assistants who work full time. So that's 14 times 40 hours a week. That's 560 hours a week plus my 3 days. So I work Monday to Wednesday from 10 to 4. So about 6 hours. So 6 times 3 is what? I can do 18. So that's another 18 hours. So if I was by myself, I would get 18 hours worth of work done in 1 week, right? Instead, I get 578 hours worth done. This is 578 hours worth of work done in 1 week. So in a month times 4 weeks, it's 2,312 hours worth of work.
Yeah, it's not even comparable. It puts you into a whole different sport. You know what I mean?
So you remember when we did the math divided by 2,080? That's for an average person working full time in a year. It's 2,080 hours. That's a year. I get done 2,312 hours in a month while I work 3 days a week, 6 hours a day.
So clearly you suggest hiring is the answer.
It's the hourly rate.
Yeah. If you want to scale.
Yeah, it's just math. You're playing with numbers all day long.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of agents, and basically the consensus is about 130 transactions a year as a solo agent is almost your cap. It is pretty much. Oh my
gosh, my head was spinning at 40, 130.
I've talked to a few agents, and basically the consensus from everybody I've talked to says at 130 transactions, that's like there's no way
you have a life. There's no way
and that's just it. And when I talk about those agents preach about how when they were selling 130 transactions a year, they gained 40 pounds and they're going through a divorce and they're basically life is falling apart around them. Their business,
is that what you want? If that's the goal, 130 divided by 12, that's 11 transactions a month divided by 4 weeks. That's almost 3 transactions a week. There's no freaking, I mean, you could do it, but the amount of work that would require, you would have no life. There's no way you would have a life.
No, exactly that. Whereas you hire 2 or 3 assistants and you can get that amount of work done, no problem. And it's not even like
you get more done. I mean, actually, you would do less. You would make more money.
Yeah, exactly that. I want to talk a little bit about resiliency and mindset a little bit. I think before we end things off, I think that's a fun place to end. You've obviously faced many challenges as an immigrant, as a new agent, and now as an industry leader. How do you maintain a resilient mindset through it all?
Oh, that's super easy to me because, well, how do I say this nicely though? Because I don't give a beep what people think of me. I usually say, I start caring about your opinion as soon as I can deposit it into my bank account. So just don't let people get to you. Their opinion doesn't matter. You are who you believe you are. Do life your way. Who needs to be in your life will be in your life. Also, I am huge on learning something new all the time.
Yep.
You can't, the person, you and me before we went live here, you and me, we talked about, I made $16,000 in my first year. Am I the same Gogo Bethke? Do I have the same DNA, same fingerprint, same social security number? Yes, I do. I'm the same Gogo Bethke. Am I really? Because the person who made $16,000 in 2011, I couldn't even find her inside of me right now if I spent the rest of this week on it. Yeah. I have grown so much. The lessons I have learned and the systems I have implemented to make our life easier, there's no way that person in 2011 could pull their weight today without the lessons that I learned, without the 6 inches between the ears, right? So I ask myself all the time, this I think is one of the most important questions to ask yourself when you set a goal. Who do I need to become? So if I want that for myself, who do I need to become so I can actually have it and keep it?
Yep.
And what are the lessons that you need to learn? And then go learn it. Because if not, you might accidentally make the money, but you'll lose it because you don't know what to do with it.
Is there a mistake you made early in your career that turned into a valuable lesson?
Oh gosh, how much time do you have?
We got a little bit of time.
Oh my gosh, so many mistakes. Mistakes are just lessons we haven't learned yet. You keep making them until you learn it and then you'll never make it again. So I don't look at mistakes because mistakes have formed me. Mistakes are just lessons that created the today version of Gogo. Like, I was like, thank God that happened to me because guess what? I'm never going to do again.
Yeah.
That lesson, right?
Exactly because that.
As soon as you learn it, you're like, oh yeah, no, I already know. And then also when it comes up again, you're like, honey, I already been there. I already know how to solve this one. Like, you're messing with the wrong person, right? So no, I actually love mistakes. I love learning a new lesson. And I was like, it always gets when something's not working out, the thing I planned, I'm like, what am I supposed to learn from this? And I'm
Yes.
like, oh, I got it. I got it. Okay, I got it.
I've talked to a couple super high achievers, one billionaire in specific, and basically the moral of the conversation was how did you achieve your level of success in such a short amount of time? And he said it's because I'm not afraid to fail. He said I move faster than everybody else. He said by the time you're done analyzing all the steps you have to take to get started,
I already built it.
I've already tried three different things, failed three different times, and now have the best way to go about it.
Yeah, exactly. There's no failure for me. Also, because I believe in God and I believe that God created us to be who we are on this earth, right? We are here to serve a purpose. Yep. So I believe that if God gives me an idea, he gave it to me because he knows then I have what it takes to make it a reality. So when you know that the idea is yours, when it pops up in your head, we're like, oh, God gave me this gift, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I just have to go figure it out, right? So I don't question if I'm going to be successful at it. There's no other options for me. There's no other option. Sometimes you're like, it might not work out, but if you gave it 100% at who you are, like you gave it all you got and it didn't work out at the end, you can just say, hey, it's not for me. Big deal. Move on to something else. Not only that, but I don't have the personality where I remember back in school when the teachers were asking, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I was like, I still don't know what I'm going to be when I grow up, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm still figuring it out. I'm keep trying new things. And I'm like, and also I have the personality that when I figure things out, I get bored with it.
Yeah.
I was like, that's boring. I figured it out, right? I need a constant challenge, a constant next level. But in order to constantly change your next level, you have to leave the last level behind. You have to be okay with like, yeah, that's my old self. That's like, oh gosh, that's so 2000 and late, right? Yeah. So I love new. I love chasing the next level. I love failing and trying again. I love doing things over and over. Failure is not even a bleep on my radar. Doesn't affect me whatsoever.
Well, I think I like what you said about evolving goals. That's a huge one. I find that I get more excited about the journey than I do the achievement. Like the race is way more exciting than crossing the finish line.
Oh, yeah, because then you finish that, right? Like I have these 2 comical awards. I have 3 of them on my wall. And I remember when I got the first one, I was like, holy, first of all, I didn't even know what it was when we got the notification, right? Yeah. And then the second and the third one, I don't even think I went out to have dinner when I got the third one. And these are big deals, right? Like these are the things, each of the funnels we have built made over $1 million, but it's the race. The race is the journey, right? It's not the finish line. The finish line was like, it's a split second, you forget about it. Right? It's like that hustle I love. So as much as I love a good hustle, I'm going to correct myself because I'm going into my era of freedom.
Ooh, elaborate on that. What does that mean for Go?
I'm done with the hustle culture, Trevor.
Okay. So what are you shifting to?
So I'm shifting to actually enjoying the fruit of our labor and stop the chase, right? Okay. I have always, or at least the last third of my life, right? I feel like I have constantly had a goal or dream. I constantly had a next level something. And constantly something I was
a go-go mentality.
Yeah. And then recently I went to a Tony Robbins event. I love UPW. If you've never been to Unleash the Power Within, go, everyone. It will change your life. But go in person. Online is good too, but in person will change your life. Yep. And every time I went, I had like a big goal and then a big dream, like I was going to like a plan. When I left there, like, this is what I'm going to figure out. This is what I'm going to build. That's the next level. But then this time I was like, I'm good. Not that I feel like oh my gosh, I made it. It's not like that. It's more like I'm happy. I'm very content and happy and grateful for what I've been already able to achieve. I'm grateful that I'm still young. I'm grateful that my children are young. I'm grateful that I get to experience this time with them because time will fly. I can chase money for the rest of my life. So I'm taking this year off, like kind of off. Like I'm still doing my podcast and my 4 money makers. So the Go Get 'em community is my favorite thing to do now. So in the Go Get 'em community now, I teach others how to chase, how to build their 7-digit businesses, right? Yep. And all the systems and processes and AI and technology, name it, everything that goes along with being a CEO. And then I have my Gogopreneur podcast and TV show, so I continue doing that. I have my Team Gogo organization, which is my downline at EXP. And that's pretty much it. Those are the only things that I will give time and attention to in this upcoming year. And then I travel a lot and learn a lot. So there's certain things that I still want to figure out. So I'm going to the best to learn it. So in January, I'm going to learn how to run ads, Facebook ads, because everything that I have done, most of them are through organic social media marketing. I want to learn some ads, but I want to understand it. It's not like I'm going to run my own ads. I just want to know enough to be dangerous, right? So then I can guide my team of what I actually want to get done. I'm also hired a coach that's kind of like an NLP coach, a neuro, kind of like
neuro logistics,
to watch what I say and how I say it, because and I had an SEO coach, then we just finished with that one. I'm sure I end up with some other coach this year. And then I'm going to Europe. I'll be gone for the month of June and July. We're going to go to Italy and Spain and Monaco, and then to Romania, home for a couple of weeks, and then up to Michigan for a couple of weeks. And I have so many trips in between. I'm going to learn. I'm going to a keynote speaker training in February up in Minnesota. Cool. So it's just like a bunch of like just learning and spending time with family. That's pretty much what I'm going to be doing. And then teaching what I learn in the Gogo community and the Team Gogo organization. So that's my slow down, not chasing the money anymore, teaching others how to
slow down,
reach their goal. That's slow down. That's oh my gosh, it's very much slow down. We have 9 companies. To narrow it down to 3 that I'm going to give time and attention to. It's a 60%.
Well, I think spending time and attention on family and things and traveling is so important. I mean, you talk to all these agents who have, been in the game 30, 40, 50 years, and they all tell you the same thing. They're not going to lay in their deathbed and think, damn, I wish I got that listing. Or, damn, I wish I sold more houses. That's never going to be the case. You're going to think about, I wish I had those memories, or I wish I took those steps, or I wish I went on that vacation. And so, the hustle is awesome. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, enjoy the fruits of your labor as well.
Exactly.
For agents listening who want to elevate their careers, what's one piece of advice you want them to take away from this conversation?
It's super simple. What you're already good at, do more of that. And what you're not good at, if you want to learn it, go learn it. You have to be phenomenal at whatever you do. Yes. If you're average, if nobody knows your name, I'm sorry to break it to you, you're average. And that's because your work ethic is average. That means you're not doing circles around the other agents. If you want everybody to know your name, do circles around other people. Be much better than every other agent in that specific avenue that you're going to take. So go get better. Go learn what you don't know. So if you want to be best at social media, learn from the best.
Yeah.
If you want to maybe have the front end done of your business, but your back end is falling apart, become a go-getter. I can help you. So just get good at whatever that you know you're slacking in, and you only know what you're slacking in. I can tell.
If you're working your ass off and your business still isn't growing, you're working on the wrong shit.
On the wrong thing. You're busy. You're busy just so you can justify that you're working hard.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I think, some of the key takeaways I'd take from this conversation would be the importance of leveraging social media with authenticity and strategy. I'd say building resilience and a growth mindset for long-term success is important. And then another key takeaway from this conversation, I think, is the power of collaboration and training when scaling your real estate business.
Yeah.
Gogo, your journey is a testament to resilience, innovation, and giving back. Thank you so much for sharing your story and insights today. If I was a listener who was just absolutely blown away by what I heard and what you had to say and wanted to learn more about Gogo and the Gogo organization, the Gogo Bootcamp, the Go-Getters, what would be the best way for somebody to get in touch with you?
Oh, thank you so much. So thanks for having me here today and hearing me out. I do like to practice the freedom of speech in this country. You can find me anywhere under Gogo Bethke or Gogo's Real Estate. And if you would like to become a go-getter, just go to gogetemcommunity.com.
Perfect. Well, there you have it. Don't be afraid to reach out. Gogo is an absolute rock star and will teach you how to be a go-getter. Thanks again for joining us in another incredibly insightful conversation. Remember, guys, this is where our industry's top 1% are sharing actionable steps that you can implement into your business today. Join us next time for another value-packed show. Gogo, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was so fun. Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks for tuning in to Collaborate, where we're not just talking about success, we're building it. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe and never miss out on the insights that could take your real estate career to the next level. And remember, this is a space for the elite. If you're ready to level up and become part of a global network of top performing agents, join us at the Global Group for exclusive tools, resources, and opportunities to collaborate with the best in the business. I'm Trevor Bigg, and remember, if you haven't been invited to this show yet, you need to grind harder, hustle smarter, and get those numbers up, because this is a space reserved for the elite.